Chapter 1: Shadows of Improvisation. Tokyo in the 1980s was a city of contradictions, a neon-lit metropolis where tradition and rebellion collided in the shadows. By day, the streets pulsed with the orderly rhythm of salarymen and vending machines, but as the sun dipped below the skyline, something else stirred. Beneath the glittering facade of corporate Japan, a different kind of music was being played. It wasn't the polished, government-sanctioned tunes piped through department stores. It was raw, it was alive, and it was illegal. The jazz underground didn't advertise itself. You didn't find it found you. Word spread in hushed tones, passed between trusted hands like contraband. A whispered address, a coded knock on a back door, a flickering neon sign that only appeared after midnight. These were the clues that led to the hidden clubs where musicians defied the system, one improvised note at a time. The government had rules. Corporate sponsors had demands. But in the dim glow of these underground venues, the rules didn't apply. The music was unfiltered, unpredictable, just like the city itself. Saxophones wailed over the illegal amplifiers, drummers pushed rhythms to the edge of chaos, and bass lines throbbed like the heartbeat of a city refusing to be silenced. One such place was a Velvet Cellar, a basement bar tucked beneath a ramen shop in Shinjuku. The air was thick with smoke and the scent of spilled whiskey. The walls were lined with peeling posters of forgotten jazz legends, their faces half lit by the flicker of a single bulb. Here, musicians played for the love of the art, not for approval. The crowd was a mix of rebels, artists, and the occasional lost tourist who stumbled in by accident. But once you were inside, you were part of something bigger than yourself. They wanted us to play safe, remembers Yoko, a pianist who performed at the Velvet Cellar under a pseudonym. But jazz isn't about being safe. It's about taking risks. It's about saying what you feel even if the world doesn't want to hear it. And the world didn't want to hear it. Jazz, in its purest form, was a threat. It was improvisation, unscripted, unregulated, uncontrollable. The government censored lyrics, corporate sponsors demanded clean, marketable sounds, and the mainstream media ignored anything that didn't fit their narrative. But in the underground, the music refused to be tamed. The risks were real. Raids were common. Police would burst in without warning, flashlights cutting through the smoke like searchlights. Instruments were confiscated, venues shut down overnight. But the musicians never stopped. They moved locations, changed names, played in secret. Because for them, jazz wasn't just music, it was resistance. And every note was a middle finger to the system, laughs Kenji, a saxophonist who has spent years evading authorities. They could take our stages, but they couldn't take the music from our souls. And the music spread, through bootleg tapes, whispered recommendations, and the sheer force of its own energy. The underground scene became a network, a web of hidden venues, secret gigs, and musicians who refused to be silenced. It was a rebellion without a leader, a movement without a manifesto, just people playing for their lives. By the time the 1980s drew to a close, the underground had left its mark. The music had seeped into the mainstream, its rebellious spirit impossible to ignore. The government's grip had loosened, and the corporate machine had learned to tolerate, if not embrace, wild, untamed energy of jazz. But the heart of the movement remained in the shadows, in the back rooms, the basements, the places where the music still played free, because jazz, in its truest form, would always belong to the underground. And so, the story continues.